Schlock and Off Films.
Hello.
Alright, it is Wednesday. Actually, it is Wednesday.
Oh shit, yeah, it's past midnight.
Mm-hmm.
It's Wednesday.
Yeah, alright. But just a week before when this is going to air. Alright, so we just streamed for a couple hours.
Yeah, it was a good time.
And we're very tired, but we have to knock out a review. And you watched a movie the other night that you had never seen before.
I watched Ichi the Killer.
Mm-hmm. Directed by Takashi Miike.
Yes, because Gerald was like, I can't believe you haven't seen this yet. And now that I've seen it, I can't believe I hadn't seen it. It is so up my alley.
Yeah.
So up my alley.
Mm-hmm.
Got a big crush on the dude with the Glasgow smile.
Oh, yeah.
That was good.
Yep.
I wrote it down. Hold on.
Again, so
Kakihara?
Kakihara.
I think that's his
So
name.
we were talking about this because, alright, so I have not seen this movie since 2001. I saw this in the theater in Philly at the Roxy, and then we were waiting to get seated tonight to eat, and I was trying to remember things about this movie.
Yeah, would you remember a lot more of it than you thought you were going to?
I am a fan of Takashi Miike as a director. There was this period of time where he had a ton of movies, and he was known originally as like a director of like very stylistic Yakuza films, and this movie kind of dips its toe into that.
Yes, it's very much like following a couple of Yakuza groups.
Mm-hmm.
But like as soon as you said that, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Because
I believe Gerald mentioned that this was kind of a bit of a self-aware movie.
Yeah. I think it's fucked up Batman.
Yeah, you were saying.
You know, Ichi is Batman. Mm-hmm. And the guy with the glass, Kakihara, is the Joker, basically. You know?
Yeah. He's extremely masochistic.
Yeah. And that's a motif of his films is masochism and violence. I'm drinking.
Oh my god.
Moscow. All right, so go ahead. Let's jump into this.
Okay. So yeah, I spent a lot of my time watching this movie just in awe. So I know that I'm a little bit biased because I love gore. Gore. And I will this is over the top gore.
Oh yeah.
So unnecessary with the amount of
I showed
gore.
you Kill Bill.
Yeah.
You know.
And I love it. That's the thing. Like, I'm not saying this as a criticism.
Yeah.
It was over the top and I loved it. And the whole movie had that vibe. Because, even my favorite character, Kakihara, is very masochistic. He cuts off his own tongue.
Yep.
Obviously, we mentioned he's got the Glasgow smile, which I assume is implied to have been done by himself.
Yeah.
Or, even if someone else did it, he literally rejects a woman at one point for not hurting him enough.
Yeah.
He is, the pinnacle of masochism. And, I don't know. I don't know if there's any deeper meaning to this. You mentioned that it's a theme in a lot of Takashi Miike's films.
I think that ambiguity is the main takeaway from this movie.
Yes, there is a very ambiguous ending, which, I loved because...
And not even just the ending, because when you're first introduced to Ichi, he's crying at his job.
Yeah.
You know? And then also the idea of, again...
He's very much not who you think, because the movie's called Ichi the Killer, and you're like, oh, okay. And actually, when I'm first introduced to Kakihara, because I didn't know anything about the movie, I thought he was Ichi. And I was like, oh, that's cool, he's doing this, double life thing. Oh, no, he's just like that.
Ichi's just a dude who...
Ichi's just a dude who gets off on violence and is, really upset about it.
And stands outside of a window watching, a guy beat up a prostitute. And he has, blade shoes.
Yeah, I like it. I like his blade shoes a lot.
Yeah, my biggest...
I'm so sad that he accidentally killed that chick, because he could have had something beautiful there.
Well, no, she wasn't even... She
seems into it, to me, at least.
The prostitute?
I
the one
guess,
who's all beat up? No, she's he's not even friend zoned, he's client zoned, you know?
I guess. It came off to me she was into that sort of thing. And, that's the thing. That's the thing with the ambiguity, where we both interpreted that scene differently. where like I thought she was into it and she liked him beating her up.
I gotta go back and rewatch this,
Okay,
obviously.
okay.
I definitely remember...
And then he kills...
Yeah, I remember
he kills
that.
it, which was...
I remember...
But, and then he's, like, upset because he killed someone who was actually willing to be beat up for him.
Yeah.
He's particularly... So he's... Initially... We keep seeing these flashbacks, this girl getting raped.
Yeah. In school. He didn't do anything about it, yeah.
And, well, because she was raped defending him, basically.
Okay.
She was defending him from bullies, and
she
got
dresses
raped.
like a Sailor Moon character or something.
No, she's just in a Japanese school.
Okay, maybe I'm remembering
implying,
something different. Yeah. Yep.
And,
again, it's been 23
no, you're good,
years
you're
since
good.
I've
You're
seen
remembering
this.
more of this movie than I would ever expect you to. But, so, like, you know, he's got this memory that we keep flashing back to, because when he's first seeing this guy beat up the prostitute, like, he gets this flashback to, but then it's revealed later this is not a real flashback. But then there's even some ambiguity with that.
Yeah.
Because someone explicitly says that they implanted these memories, and there is a woman who pretends to be the girl who gets raped.
Yeah.
And then she turns and is like, no, I'm not actually this chick, I'm just, you know.
Sort of reminds me...
But at the same time, we saw someone have the same flashback, for lack of a better word. So, like, there is the implication that maybe it did actually happen, but also it very much
this is based on a manga. I remember that...
I have not read the manga.
Yeah, me either. But, like, the idea of the implanted memories reminds me a little bit of the Bloodshot comics, reminds me a little bit of... Memento, the first Chris Nolan movie. Like, a lot of that idea of A Dark City, the Alex Proyas film. But yeah, no, there's a lot of that.
And it's interesting because, like, even if these memories are implanted, he's clearly fucked up anyway.
Yeah. Because,
like, I believe they talk about how, so, like, the actual backstory for him, supposedly, is that, like, his, like, I think it's implied he killed his parents, or they, like, so, like, he's clearly fucked up anyway, but then they just gave a different fucked up so that they could focus him. Because what they do is when they pick out hits or whatever, they're like, this is doesn't he look like that bully, you know, that used to
again, like Memento, like Bloodshot,
exactly.
you know?
So, like, you know, you have that, like, yeah, it's implanted, but also maybe it's not, but also even if it is, he's already got that, murderous, you know. But then he also cries about it, but then he's also turned on by it. And it's really interesting because it's like, so rarely have I seen a nuanced killer, for lack of a better word, so in your face about the nuance. Like, very frequently you just have, like, some instances of remorse, but, like, in this case, he's, like, crying and murdering at the same time. And I like it, actually.
But also
I like
aroused by it.
Yeah.
So there is this weird...
I like that
juxtaposition,
weird, You're not really sure exactly how he's feeling, and he doesn't either. Like, that, I like that you have that vibe where he's like, he's killing partially because they told him to, partially because it turns him on, partially because he's angry. And, like, fuck it, this guy attacked him. You know, like, I like how in the aggression of the nuance, like, they belie that, like, the layers of it. Yeah. And, like, I don't know, I just liked that, like, complexity to him.
There's a complexity, but it's also...
I didn't expect that at all.
No, and it's wrapped in this kind of...
So I think this is my first Takashi Miike film.
Okay. So it's funny, I knew about him, I've seen the bulk of his stuff. Okay. I remember when they used to do this thing on Showtime called Masters of Horror. And it was like...
oh, right, you were talking about
Don Coscarelli and Joe Dante and Toby Hooper and all these things. And his was pulled because it was deemed too offensive to air and on Showtime. I think it was just a ploy to get people to buy the DVD because it really wasn't that offensive. It dealt with abortion, but it wasn't like anything that was like, you know, it wasn't like The Suckling where, like, the baby, like, is a giant monster that goes down and then crawls back up inside the mom or something, you know? But no, No,
I liked that I simultaneously got my, like, just gore fulfillment thing.
Except for when it was bad CGI.
That's true.
I remember, that was one of the things I remember the takeaway from it was the scene when he splits the guy down the middle. I remember that, because they had done
that wasn't horny for me so much as, like, as like sorry, that wasn't like realistic for me so much as just like,
well, what's that?
I liked the general vibe of it,
because they did.
You can see how it was like clearly a manga first. Scenes like that. With
well, and yes, because this movie has all of his movies really have a manga anime style energy to them,
and I like that. I do, particularly as an anime fan. I am a big fan of that. I like the basically live action anime.
Yeah.
And
because when he splits the guy in half, it reminded me they did that in Blade 2. They did that in well, actually pretty much every 90s movie had someone being like, you know,
but it's interesting
bisected.
Because like with that it was really unrealistic, you know, you had like the stretching and whatnot, and like but then also like when they cut back and they're like, you're behind the guy getting split in half, his organs fall out, and you're like, oh, that's realistic, and then they cut back and it's not again.
I like that, dude. Was it like, did they come to think there's like spray all over the ceiling?
Yeah,
okay,
that happened pretty much every time he like went to somebody's throat. It's just,
and there was a really bad scene of a face that got pulled off.
Oh my god! But like the thing was,
I'm proud of myself for remembering as much of this.
A lot,
I've only seen it once.
Like, the CGI, like, even the bad CGI I liked because it lent...
It's
that,
hyper...
Like, and
realistic,
it's like, it kind of... It blended in a little bit with the rest of the over-the-top gore that comes from it being inspired by a manga. Or, like, I don't know how directly it translates from the manga. But, at the very least, it's inspired. At the very
nipples being cut off.
That was the one thing that freaked me out.
Off.
That also,
needles to the face.
I liked the needles.
When he cuts off his own tongue.
Yep.
And then he
You keep doing a scissor motion, and just letting you know it was a knife.
Oh, was it? Okay. Oh, I'm thinking this is because of Old Boy. He cuts off his own tongue. Yep.
Yeah. And then I particularly liked...
Does that make me racist that I can't tell the difference between Japanese crime movies?
No. You last watched this movie 22 years ago. But, no. So, like, you know, it fit in enough with the over-the-top gore where, like, you know, he'd go in a room and kill a bunch of people, and the room would literally be painted.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know, like, there's blood dripping from the ceiling, literally dripping in, like, you know, and there's just guts everywhere. And, like, so the bad CGI of someone getting split in half, of a face sliding down a wall, wasn't that jarring. Like, it is if you're expecting good CGI, but with the knowledge that this gore is super over the top, you're kind of like, all right, you know?
Yeah, because
at least I was.
Yeah, and I get you're seeing it now with fresh eyes. I'm seeing it in 2001,
right,
and being like, oh, that was bad. So I'm wondering how I will see it now. Yeah, I want to go back and rewatch this movie. Of
course, I will watch it.
I have a couple Japanese movies. I have, you know, aside from like older stuff, I've got like Versus and like Battle Royale and shit like that here. But yeah, no, I remember being extremely impressed by this movie when I saw it the first time. Mostly because, like I said, you know his movies, you know Yakuza movies at that point, or at least I did growing up. You know, when I got into seeing like crime movies, it would be like Police Story or something like that. And
it's a lot more, like, you compared it to the Batman Joker. I feel like it is a lot more superhero-esque than like a typical like Yakuza crime.
Yeah, and that's that's what allows the gore and stuff to not be as out of place.
Yeah, and some of the more over the top like plot beats in general, like I mean, Kakihara again, who I love dearly. Like even him having the Glasgow smile and being able to pull out like these things. They look like you stick them in meat to hold them together. Like when you stuff turkey, those things where they got the loops at the end. And there's a word for them that I'm going to remember as soon as we finish this video. It's totally fine. Yeah. But
we streamed for 3 hours. We're very tired.
Skewers? No, that's not right.
No.
But no, there's a specific thing.
I know what you're talking about.
So he pulls them out, and then his jaw unhinges, which was another example of kind of iffy CGI. But it wasn't. They didn't overdo that. They only had him do that once, even though they teased it the whole time. Because, like, you can see his, like, mouth slits the whole time.
And that's why I'm wondering... and that's why I'm wondering, too, of the Joker aspect of it. Do you think Heath Ledger's Joker was kind of inspired by that with the scars?
Maybe?
You know?
I don't know. Like, that's not something that I would know.
But he even wears the purple jacket and everything, you know.
Yeah, he was flashy, and I liked it. But
and he's on all the covers and stuff, like, because I have the poster. And he's on the poster.
Okay. Which again, like, the way they introduce him, I thought he was Ichi.
Yeah.
And it's just this sad dude who's like turned on by violence and kind of upset about it.
Mm-hmm. But then Kakihara is embracing his sexual.
Yeah, they were a really interesting foil for people who did not meet until the end of the movie.
Yeah. Yep. Again, like Batman and the Joker, it's two different ways of approaching the same thing, you know?
But, I just, that was obviously, like, I feel bad because I didn't, like, I knew that, like, as soon as Jared suggested I watch it, I was like, I need to tell New about this so that we can then review it. And even with that knowledge that I was going to tell you so we could review it, I couldn't help but, like, turn my brain off, like, too much, because it just... Again, it was ridiculous, but, like, in a way that worked within the universe, and I really, really liked it. And I
remember being impressed walking out of it. I saw it with a bunch of friends in Philly. It was right when I came back from film school, and I went with a bunch of the people that I worked with when it was still United Artists. It wasn't Regal yet. And I actually think Justin Silverman was with us as well. And us not really knowing what to expect, because you got to think that, like, 2001 internet is not 2023 internet. So we had seen the trailer, and the trailer has the tongue cutting scene, and that's kind of what you got from it. And again, I thought the same thing. I was like, oh, okay, Ichi is the blonde haired guy.
Because he's like the primary fixture of the trailer. He is the primary person we're following throughout the story, and you very much think it's going to be him the whole time. And they introduce this, like, this sad dude, like, I don't know how else to
Kevlar,
explain
you know,
it.
with knife shoes.
Yep, I love his knife shoes. They're great. But and then, like, it's just cool because even, like, we've got these different interpretations of the different scenes and whatnot, and I just, like, I liked the ambiguity, and
especially the ending.
The ending where you can choose to believe that he killed himself inadvertently, or you could choose to believe
that Ichi killed him.
Ichi killed him
after killing that kid.
Yeah, it was. Oh my god.
Yeah, because he tried to give himself a lobotomy.
Yes, he grabbed like those were actually skewers, and he stuck them in his ears, and you follow them into that was another case of the bad CGI, but that's.
I don't remember it going in. I remember him.
No, he put him in his ear. Because also the sound stops when he does that.
Okay.
So the kid someone's...
I really should watch the movies that we're going to review for the movie chat.
Oh my god. But, no, so he puts in his ears and he hits his brain, and then you hear the screaming stop very suddenly. And I'm like, oh, he hit one of the, like, auditory processing. And then the sound comes back. And that's where I think, to me at least, that... indicates when it where it transitions to him. Like, this is what his brain is thinking now, and he's stuck some metal in it. Like, he's fantasizing about the way he wants Ichi to kill him, because he's mad that Ichi, killed this other guy, Kaneko, I think, and then Kaneko's kid. Again, I might have the guy's name, but the kid's name is Takeshi. I know that, but so, like, he's upset because he's like, why can't I be the one injured? The one person who wants to, like, be killed. And so he tries to, like, do it himself, essentially, with the lobotomy, and then, like, his brain gives him that fantasy. Or you can believe that's actually what happened, where, like, he was going to kill himself with these skewers, and then it turns out Ichi, killed the kid. And
because the ending sort of reminded me of...
shoe into his forehead.
Yeah, the ending sort of reminded me of, there's a French short film that won an Academy Award, and it was featured by Rod Serling in an episode of The Twilight Zone back in the day, where this guy is being hung for war crimes, and as the ropes goes down, it breaks, and he makes a run for it, and just as he makes it to the line, his neck snaps. It was all in his head as he was going down. And
that's the way I like to interpret the ending of Ichi, because, or the end of Ichi, the killer, the movie, not specifically the character. Like, because I like the idea that he died thinking he died the way he wanted to. And just, because...
I like when the woman, she's not beating him enough, or she's not hurting him enough.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. Yeah,
like, and then they, like, stick their hands in, like, a dude's face and, like, pull it out.
Yeah,
It looks like Terry Gilliam's Brazil almost, you know?
That's how they first start, like, hooking up, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, then he's, like, in the chains and she's, like, going after him.
Yeah.
And he says, like, the best thing that you can do for your partner is to not think about how you're hurting them, basically. And
Man,
I loved that
that's
line.
good.
I loved that line.
I need to go tell that to some ex-girlfriends of mine.
But, you know, and it's like, I kind of relate to that a little bit, not to get TMI, but, like, very few people in my life are willing to, like, hurt me as bad as I want. And, you know, I have to encourage them a little bit.
Oh, okay.
And, like, and that's fair. I understand not wanting to hurt somebody you care about, but, like, that would make me happy. You know what I mean? So, like, I get it but then I also been on the other end where I don't want to hurt somebody.
Yeah, like, that's my thing. Like, I'm not a fan of, like, choking or, like, slapping and stuff like that because I don't like being slapped. No, but even, like, on the ass or something like that. Somebody's, like, spank me or something like that. I'm like, but it's just, like, because I'm always worried that I'm gonna do it too hard. Right. Or, like, it's not a pleasurable thing for somebody. And I'm just, like, I understand that, like, that is part of the process. Right. But I like things to be soft and
that's okay because it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, and that's the thing, and clearly that was not, you know, the vibe with these two, because she wasn't.
You don't want anybody cutting your nipples off?
No. That's the one, that was, like, the first time I flinched in the whole fucking movie. Like, he's, at the very beginning, he's got this guy up on meat hooks, and he pours boiling water and everything, I'm like, okay, he cuts his tongue, I'm like, okay, and then he, like, slices the girl's nipples off, and I'm like, ah!
And then the dick, too, you know?
Yeah,
a lot of dick trauma in movies that I've reviewed on this channel.
I forgot that there was dick trauma in that. I think my brain was like...
Doesn't he drop it in, like, a glass of water?
That was... I don't think... No, that was his tongue.
That was the tongue?
Okay. Yeah, that was from
I'm trying to remember the trailer.
You're good.
The end
that was in the trailer, that was his tongue.
Okay, alright.
Not a penis.
Not a penis? I don't know the difference. And doesn't he think, like, it'll grow back?
Yeah, he was like, oh, it'll grow back. I'm like, that's not how that works.
Well, if he's a newt.
And also, no, it was so fucking funny because we're watching this and he does that, and then, like, he's talking normally afterwards, and I'm like, no, bullshit. I got my tongue pierced and that shit was swollen for, like, a week or two. He cannot talk right now. It'd be like, like, no, no.
So being a...
But then Jared was like, that's your problem with it? I'm like, yeah.
The arterial spray of the woman's neck or the...
I've had personal experience with tongue trauma, quote unquote, because it was intentional. But, like, you know, with my tongue piercing, that shit was swollen for, like, a while. And even after it, like, the swelling died down, you kept fighting it.
Did you ever think that it would have healed easier if you were in the Yakuza?
I didn't consider that. I will say with my family history, I'm more likely to be in the Italian mafia.
I know, but they wouldn't expect it. Like, think about the Yakuza could be like, oh yeah, if the police come around, they'd never expect you. You know?
I mean...
I'm just saying, you could rise to the top of the Tokyo crime world. You could be like Oren Ishii, you know?
Oh my god.
So you would recommend this movie?
If you are not squeamish.
To the fucking weirdos who watch us.
I'm just putting it out there. If you were squeamish, there were moments that made me cringe. You know what I mean? Like I said, the nipple scene. There were one or two other things.
That nipple scene or the Cannibal Ferox nipple scene?
Worse.
Which is more like
this one. Okay. I don't know why, because this was faster. But yeah, this fucked me up a little bit more. Okay. I actually enjoyed the one in Cannibal Ferox.
All right.
But no, like, unless you're cool with all sorts of gore, like, they get creative. Yeah. And, you know. And
that's the one thing, especially about Takashi Miike's films, is he's very creative. And, I mean, his cinematography is fantastic. His lighting is fantastic. I don't remember the score of this movie very much, but I remember some of his... I don't remember it much either. Yeah, I don't...
It wasn't bad. Like, it didn't stick out as bad to me.
That's the whole thing, because I remember some of the music beats from some of his other movies. Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking about that tonight because we were doing the stream. We were trying to remember I was trying to remember the theme to the show Perfect Strangers, and then once I heard the beat, I was like, oh, and then I knew all the words. Yeah. So I was like, there's a lot of these.
You did that when we were at the bar too. The song came
I was trying to remember
singing along to it, and you were like, what fucking song?
I knew all the lyrics to the song, but I didn't know who the band was, and I was like, wait, this came out when I was in 6th grade.
But no, that I would recommend this movie if you were not squeamish. Yeah. I presume if you're already a fan of Takashi Miike. In general, like if you like that ambiguity, I would recommend it. But yeah, if you're not a big fan of like the gore, if you're going to be taken out by the
or
bad
subtitles,
CGI,
if you're not a subtitles fan, have you seen a lot of Japanese films?
Not much, surprisingly. I've mostly most of my experience with Japanese media in general is anime.
Is anime, okay.
So I would like to experience more of these live action things.
Yeah, there's some great shit out there. We got into because you get into like the there's the crime movies and all that, but then there was a period of time in the early 2000s where J-horror was the biggest thing. Because this is
I've seen a couple of
like Ringu and The Grudge and Dark Water and stuff like that. But there was a period of time there, especially when I ran the comic book store, where Japanese horror was like huge, like Dead or Alive. There's a bunch of fucking movies that we would constantly go. We would drive to Philly to go to the Roxy or the International House to see these like Japanese double feature movies on film, and that's where I remember seeing. It's funny. I saw Ichi the Killer, Irreversible, and Sallow all in a very short period of time. And the Serbian film.
I still need to see Sallow and maybe Serbian films.
Sallow.
I know you told me why.
Yeah, Sallow. I think you would enjoy for the social political subtext of it. That if it existed in an era of. Say that the Italians and the Nazis stuck together and they won the war. Okay. It would become the fall of Rome. It would be absolute power corrupted absolutely, and it was basically these generals who gathered together all these young men and young women and basically tried to remove like sin and shame from them by making them like go through these different levels of absolute fucking degradation, eating shit and all this kind of stuff. And it is a very interesting, very hard movie to watch, but it's also brilliant when you look at it. It's like Cannibal Holocaust. Such a fucking ugly, hard movie to watch, but when you look at it from the social construct of native tribesmen, they don't know that what they're doing is anything other than what they do. We choose to watch these things. So who's the real savage, you know?
That kind of thing.
So I like that. And in this, nothing like Ichi the Killer. I said, Ichi the Killer...
That's not present in this movie.
Ichi the Killer is fucked up.
You.
Fucked up funhouse mirror Batman, basically, is what I thought it as.
And again, I loved the creativity.
Yeah.
I don't see a lot of really creative kills. It felt like some of them, like, there was a period of time where Netflix had really good, like, at least to me, not super well-known horror movies that were super creative and gory this. And this felt like something I would have found on Netflix in, like, 2010.
Yeah, it's got a Peter Jackson's splat stick, where it's slapstick but with gore. And there's a lot of those type of things. You see the same thing with Quentin Tarantino's movies as well. I got to imagine that Takashi Miike was an influence on the Kill Bill movies. Yeah. Even like I said over in Ichi, when she cuts off the dude's head and there's just the blood just keeps coming. For blood to do that, you'd have to have really high blood pressure.
Yeah. See, mine wouldn't do that. I've got low blood pressure.
Okay, it's like all the monsters in 300.
In case you were wondering, if you decapitated me, I wouldn't spray that way.
I would not. Yeah, you're not a squirter.
Yeah, I was going to say the thing you sent me. Oh my god.
Anyone could be a squirter if you hit the right artery. So that is our review, our 4 a.m. review of Takashi Miike's Ichi the Killer. I'm going to go back and rewatch it because you talking about it makes me go like, oh yeah. Again, I was like trying to access those memories
You did a good
and
job.
not mixing it up
yeah.
with other movies of its ilk.
I think there's one thing you said that I didn't remember.
Okay.
Everything else you got, like everything else was associated
Yeah.
with that. And then obviously the scissors.
And wasn't there also... Is this the movie? The guys are wearing, like, those, like, see-through, like, masks,
Yes.
and they have,
Yep,
like, stuffed
that's it.
animals on them or something.
Yeah.
Okay, alright.
And the one guy's like, I fucking hate this thing. I can't breathe in it. Yeah. Yep, that's that.
Couldn't breathe in their masks. Isn't that what all those people said when COVID happened? And then surgeons are like, I spent 18 hours with one of this mask on working on a
Yeah.
dude's brain. I'm absolutely fine.
Yeah.
But no, you can't go get a haircut,
Oh
Karen.
my god. But yes, that was this movie. As
Okay.
well.
Tell us what your favorite Japanese movies are.
Please, I would like to experience more of that vibe.
Yeah, because there's, I grew up obviously with the Toho movies, the Godzilla and all that kind of stuff. And then you had the Shaw Brothers movies, obviously, some fucking... We used to have Channel 57 in Philly during the 80s had Saturday Kung Fu Theater.
Mm-hmm.
So there would be all these crazy dubbed Kung Fu movies. And not even the Shaw Brothers movies, but like movies below that too.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you had the Sonny Chiba stuff. So I grew up on all that stuff. And then it wasn't until I kind of discovered Jackie Chan stuff that I kind of did expand into other things as well. Because he did the Police Story movies. And, I mean, whatever. I should do a whole video on Jackie Chan, how he's basically like the modern era version of Buster Keaton. The way that he, did stunts, but in a comedic way with the drunken master shit and all that. I'm a huge fan of Jackie Chan, and he was the voice of Splinter in the last Ninja Turtle movie. All right, anything else?
Nope.
That's it. All right, I'm not gonna.
Blood and guts.
Yeah, blood and guts. The gore, the merrier.
Yes.
Now, can I go to sleep?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, bye.